What is going on, everybody? So today I am doing a review of the Furious Ultimate EMX by Fabulous E-Bikes based out of Canada. Now, the TLDR on this bike is it's a fantastic bike, but it might need upgrades depending on your situation or what you want to do. So, dual motor, 750 watt hub motors front and rear, 205 millimeter gigantic 4-piston hydraulic brakes front and on the rear. Now it does come with an optional second battery with a rear rack. Now I took the rear rack and second battery off because the way I ride this bike, I can ride for 6 to 8 hours with the single battery and maybe get down to 50 to 60%. And I'll pedal this bike in rear motor only and use the gears, and it's still super fast. When I need to, I can put it in dual motor and take off. However, I didn't need the super long range, so I took it off, and it helps with the handling and the agility of the bike. As well as I did identify one of the wobble issues with the rear. The rear battery is so heavy and it's mounted so high that once you get above 35 miles an hour, once it starts to get a little bit of wobbliness, it starts to shake the back end a bit. And if you notice, there's 4 mounting points. There's 1, 2 here on the right, 1, 2 here on the left. That's its mounting point for that tall rear rack with that battery. So anyhow, I took that off. To me, I like not having the weight on the back. It makes a big difference. One thing to point out though, on the website, at least it used to, it did say that it came with a suspension seat post. However, that is false. It does not come with a suspension seat post. It does come with a nice seat, however. Another thing I will say is the rear or middle shock. The one that comes from the factory is an air shock on its own. Some of you might say, oh, that's enough and that works great, but I live in the city. I do a lot of road riding, a little bit of gravel, and it was not cutting it, so I went ahead and upgraded that. If anyone's curious, the eyelet measurement on this bike is 190 millimeters. I also upgraded the pedals that came on the bike. Obviously, any bike, typically not that great. Another minor change I made to the bike is the chain. The chain that comes with this bike is not sufficient if you plan on using it for pedaling at all. Keep note of that. Another wobble condition I found is if you have the front handlebars, see how I have them down and angled back? If you have the bars mounted completely vertical and up high, you will get wobble on the front wheel. So I found 2 cases where you can get wobble. One on the back, one on the front. So just keep note of that. You don't want to have this thing all the way vertical. And probably the most important thing I would like to point out are the tires. So the tires that come from this are CTS Scouts. These are not CTS Scouts. But the CTS Scouts that come on this bike are not sufficient for high speeds. If you plan on riding anywhere outside of a neighborhood, they need to be replaced. The tires were the biggest upgrade, not only for safety and performance, but for performance, I should say, but more importantly for safety and quietness and smoothness. These are way more quiet, way smoother. You can feel the strength in them, and I have not lost any top speed. I weigh 200 pounds. I haven't had any issues, and it feels great. Now, I've put a little over 500 miles on the Furious Ultimate 60 volt. It's been a fantastic bike. I've had to do a little bit of tightening the bolts here and there. That's one thing to make sure of. Make sure everything's tight, torqued properly. I did bleed the brakes. The brakes were a little spongy when I first set the bike up, so I did bleed the brakes, which is very simple. In the future, very soon, I am going to replace the rear cassette with a better 7-speed cassette. But overall, this has been a fantastic e-bike. Can consistently hit over 40, no problem. With pedaling this bike, it's even funner. It really does make you feel like you have bionic legs. It's an absolute blast to ride. You can tell the quality in it. It's a little dirty, mine's a little dirty at the moment, but I get compliments all the time on the bike, especially with the upgrades. One thing I will say is make sure always to wear some sort of safety equipment, because this thing in dual motor mode can get away from you. Once you get used to it though, you can use dual motor mode in tight turns to straighten the bike straight back up when you want to then re-accelerate. It's a pretty neat feature if you're standing up on the bike. It takes a little bit to get used to, but it's pretty neat. Now I know this comes in different colors. I went with black on black so that the red brake stood out. I'm a big fan of blue, so I put blue pedals on it just to kind of give it a little drip. But this is an amazing bike. I can keep up with traffic downtown. I go through all the parks, on the trails. And with the better tires, it gives you much more confidence if you're going to ride in the road or in the street where there's any potential vehicles. The tires give you a lot more confidence to be at speed, to turn, to handle. Because I really cannot stress enough how the CS Scout tires are paper plate thin. Other than that, I've had no major issues with it. After 500 miles, no issues, no major issues aside from tweaks that have needed to be done, which is normal on a bicycle. I redid the wiring harness a little bit when I took the rack off. I need to actually fix that wire there. But then you can align the rear brake and turn signal pretty easily with not too much issue. If you're looking to do that, it makes a really big difference. Anyhow, if you're interested in this bike, you can check out Fabulous E-Bikes. This is their special Furious division, the Adrenalized Torque Edition. If you're interested in this, check them out. The shipping was great. The customer service is phenomenal. And aside from the cost-cutting features, which you can upgrade yourself, like the rear suspension, the chain, tires, things like that, it's a fantastic bike. If you want to enjoy it straight out of the box, that's totally fine. I just would not do any serious riding on it. And other than that, I have nothing but great things to say about this bike. I'm going to continue to make riding videos with it, detailing trails and different parts of the city. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been my review on the Ultimate 60 Volt. Hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.